Well, hello everyone and welcome to my hobby home. My name is Cathy. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. We are going to be making the Nantucket summer bag. That is this. This is a free pattern on Moda Fabrics. And this is called the Nantucket Mini Charm Bag. It's by Camille Ross Kelly. So I will be making this a different way. I did have a viewer tell me a different way to make it with this grid interfacing. How we will do this, I have all of my stuff here. I have my mini charm. I have my batting, zipper, and lining all in here. So what we need to do is pick out what squares we're going to use first. This is the first step. Now I know I cannot press this on my mat, but I'm going to try to show right here because you can see this. This is the interfacing. The bubbly side is the side you want to put your charms on, mini charms on. So let me get this open and get my charms. Now you have to think about it. If you have some that are directional, I have one there that is directional. I have to think, do I want it, which way I want it facing? I don't want it way up there on that corner, but these are supposed to be 2.5-inch squares. It looks like some of my charms may not be that size, but I am going to go to the back of my charms and get some of the darker colors. And I'm just going to be placing them in these squares. I hope y'all can kind of see what I'm doing here. I'm just dropping a dark here and there and putting them in. The grid lines are 2.5-inch squares. You can buy these different sizes, but I'm going to make sure to use all of my dark fabrics first. And I will continue this until I have filled the whole sheet up. Now this is 5 across and 8 down. Because now you can do this where you sew 5 across and then you do 8 rows and then sew those rows together. This is the first time I've ever used this, so I am going to try this, see how it works, and once I'm completed with it and pressed it, I will show you what I've gotten done. Okay, friends, I have this done now. That took me about 10 minutes to lay out all my pieces. And then this is the interfacing, and I just pressed it on that. And this way you can move them around how you want to. You can see what they look like before you start sewing them. And I did have 2 little pieces left over, which that will go in my scrap bin. And what I have been told about these is you will fold it on that line and sew 1/4 inch away. Now you have a line. It's a dotted line on here. And I am going to talk to you like you don't even know this exists, which everybody probably knows this exists but me. But I am going to just tell you how I'm doing this. Now, as I said, you can do them individually. I did start 2 panels like this before. You can do it like that. But we're going to see how fast this is. So I have it folded on the dotted line or on the grid. And I have have it lined up on my 1/4 of an inch over here. And y'all, happy November 1st. We are officially now into Thanksgiving month. I love Thanksgiving month because that means my Christmas month is almost here. So we are sewing on that 1/4 of an inch. We're going all the way around. Now this seems really easy. I mean, this is a cheater way to do all of these. Okay, so that is the first. I'm doing it long ways. You could do it the shorter rows, you know, like across here. You could fold these in half and do those, and we will do that in a second. But right now what we are doing is we're doing the long ones first. Just because I know when I fold it the other way, I'm going to have to clip the seam, and I feel like if I clip it this direction, you know, the shorter rows will be easier just to clip. So we're going to get this on back under here. And this interfacing will also add additional stability to your bag. I think it will. I mean, it's not heavyweight. It's not real heavy. So, I mean, it's not going to be adding total stiffness to your bag. Now, I'm hoping I'm catching all of my things in here because I'm just going to tell you, some of these did not fit in these squares, and I think when I was pressing, I had a couple that moved on me. So I'm just hoping I'm catching the edges of all my fabrics, and I can check that and see. I mean, I can open it up and like this, just open it up and check that seam line there. It seems kind of weird not having that sewn together, but it does look like I'm catching everything right there. So we are going to fold this over and just keep on until we get all of the long rows done. And this is making some serious fast work of this. I'm making sure I'm bent on that grid line, because I have one right here that I see kind of got off, but that interfacing is going to hold it in place anyway. Not that we don't want it to catch, but if it has a shallower seam, it'll still hold it because it is all pressed in. And I will need to press my seams down because I don't want my seams standing up like they are right now. So I'll press them one way or the other. It's almost like it tells me where to bend it based off of. Oh, I hope I got it under that needle far enough. Because when you go to fold it, it automatically will fold over on that grid line. It looks like the grids are just a hair more than that 2.5 inches. Oh, I think I'm probably going to need to change out a needle here. I saw a thing that said when your Bernina makes a knocking sound, that it, you know, at the needle area, that it's time to change your needle out. And I have some more needles over here. I try different size needles a lot to try to find which one I like the best. And I think I'm on an 85-15 right now. Not real sure. Okay, so now I have all of these sewn side to side. I have all of them put together. So it's like I have 8 rows now. So now I have to start folding these over and sewing these. So I need to clip right here where it bends. Do not clip down to the string, you know, your stitch line, because you don't want to clip that thread. Okay, now I have all of the long rows done. They are trimmed and I have pressed these. So now we are going to start by folding our 5 across down. I'm just going to call them 5 across. It's just easier to call them that because we've done our long rows. So now we're going to do our short rows. And we will see how long this is going to take. This is kind of like a time study for us. Okay, so we've got the first one done. Now we just need to go 8 more down. And we will press these also once we have all of them completed. And I hope everyone is having a fabulous Friday. This is a finishing Friday project. It is going to be completely finished. This is Thursday that I'm doing this, so even if I don't finish it tonight, because we do have some pretty bad weather coming through this way, I don't know if it's done or if we still have more coming, but if I'm not able to finish it tonight, I will finish it in the morning for you guys. I have to keep remembering tomorrow is Friday. I keep thinking that tomorrow is the Quilt Festival, and it's not. The Quilt Festival is Saturday, and my great niece's birthday bonfire is Saturday. So hopefully I can get get some of my sewing caught up. I need to be cutting some fabrics and things like that for the sew along that I will be doing with Tammy on her channel. And I will have overflow coming to my channel for that. The land that I love, I will be doing overflow sewing on that, because I have a feeling I'm going to talk more than I'm going to sew. And that's quite all right, because I can sew on it 2 times in a week. That's perfectly fine. Y'all see what I'm doing here? I'm just rolling to the next one. And all I'm doing, y'all, this is amazing. This is a game changer. I'm afraid I'm going to have to change that needle out, though, before I start quilting it even. Now, we've only been doing this, it looks like 30 minutes. And I think in an hour, I got 2 bodies done. And well, I got one and the second one wasn't put together. But we're looking at just a little bit over 30 minutes, and I almost have this one completely done. It does take a little while to press it all on and to pick your colors and get your colors on there. But it doesn't matter if it takes over an hour or not. Well, I know it is going to take over an hour because I have to do a zipper, and that's going to take a little while. Now I have to make sure right here my grid looks like it's a little bit off. Okay, so here we are at our last row to fold over and to kind of assemble. And I will have to pull the pattern out after this to see where I go, because what I was trying to do was just build the bodies and then do them by the steps. And I do have 2 other bodies already done. So once I get all of them done, I can show you that. But right now, all I have is this. I'm going to go ahead and press this so y'all can see what it looks like. Okay, so the next thing we have to do is quilt this. So we're not going to need our ruler yet. So what we need to do is get out of our kit. I did get my kit from Stitched in Faith. It has everything in it, y'all. I mean, so easy. Just grab this. You get the free pattern. You get a zipper. You get your lining. And you get your batting. And that's a good way for them to not have any batting waste also. So we're going to get our batting. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our lining. I'm going to press my lining real quick and be right back. So I have my lining pressed out now. So what I am going to do, I've got to remove things out of my way. I don't need my zipper and all here right now. I'm making room over here. I do need my quilting pins. I'm just getting my instructions and everything out of the way because we have to quilt right now. I'm laying my lining, and I have my little box of quilting pins here, and I am going to lay my batting down. Now make sure when you lay your batting down, because I noticed it just did this to mine, that it doesn't grab your fabric and cause your fabric to wrinkle up. And I'm doing the best to have it where you guys can see it. My husband and I still have not had that talk about what we could do to make this better. I'm thinking I have a little stand over here that would probably go straight over, but that would be a difficult job or difficult task to do. And how I am going to quilt this is I'm going to do a double line. So, and I'm going to do a 1/4 of an inch stitch on both sides of every seam. So I'm starting to pin in the center, and I'm working my way to the top or bottom. It doesn't matter. Well, it's actually going to be to the top of one of the sides. And I'm just continuing to pin. And in order to make sure nothing shifts, I'm pinning every other square. Okay, so I think I probably have it around it, but I can look and see I do have right here some. So what I'm going to do, I see right there at that top one, I'm going to fold that over. I'm wondering if I'm pulling on this top piece, That's probably what's happening there. But I do like to turn it over. When I'm doing small projects, I like to turn it over and make sure that there's no ripples or wrinkles in there, because it's a small project. You can't hide that in a small project. But this is part of making sure that everything is smooth. You just check and keep checking. And I think it is. It's there. So what I'm going to do now is put my table back on. And we are going to just do a straight stitch, 1/4 of an inch on each side of the seams. And what that's going to equate to is me running the side of my foot on the seam on both sides of it. And this is also going to tack down those seams where I press them. Okay. Now that one is done, so we are turning. And we are going to put our foot down on that seam and do the same thing. Now I can say that even though you have that grid, you still can get off on your piecing, because for some reason, I don't know if it pulls or something, but it looks like I'm going to turn it this way so I can use this side of my foot. And I know y'all can probably hear that needle too. It needs to be changed so bad. Because I know you can hear that clacking, and I hear it. So the grid interfacing is very forgiving, but it can still be off a little bit. And that's probably just me though. Maybe I'm the only one that can get it off like that. So once again, we're just dropping our foot. Putting that foot right on that seam line. And y'all see how easy and quick this is getting it done. We are, I think, about at an hour right now. Okay, so now that I have it done, have all of my quilting done on the long rows, I'm going to start it on the shorter rows, or going side to side instead of top to bottom. Maybe that makes more sense. And this here, you can actually see this thread, the quilting with this thread, which I'm fine with, because the line that I'm using is Vintage by Sweetwater. And it looks really nice with those lines showing. Oh, I'm probably going to have to stop y'all and do a needle here. I can't listen to this. So let's see if we can get this done with all that, without all that clickety-clacketing. And that was the last of that 80-12, so if that's not the right one to use, that's okay. Oh yeah, that sounds much better. And I now have that completely quilted all the way. I don't know if you can see the back, but it looks really good. I am going to take the pins out and trim it, and I'll be right back. And I now have this trimmed. You see some extra stuff on here. I'm going to tell you what I did. Once I finished quilting this, I did trim around all the edges. I did stitch 1/8 of an inch from the edge just to kind of hold all my fabrics down. I trimmed 1 1/4 inch out of each corner. Now what I did was I marked it on the lining because it's a light color, much easier to see. And then I just took my scissors and I cut each of the corners out. After I did that, I folded in half and pressed right there. And that press doesn't hurt to do on the corners as well, because if you use a friction, let me grab it here, a friction pin, that will come right on off with that heat. So I got that done. The next step I did, I made my little tabs. These are real quick, simple instructions in the pattern. As I said, once again, you can get it offline. I will put the address down at the bottom of the page or leave the link in the description. This pattern is free on Moda Fabrics. But I made my 2 tabs that's going to go on each end of the bag. And that, like I said, that's real easy and simple, so I didn't go through the steps here, but I am going to go through the step where I start assembling the zipper. I'm going to put the instructions right here so I can tell you exactly what it says. Now, your zipper is going to be longer than your bag. You will trim it. What you are going to do is take your zipper and put it right side to the right side of your bag. You're going to line the edges up here, and I pinned on the bottom because I'm going to stitch up here on the top. I will be using my Bernina 4D. It is a zipper foot. So what I will have to do, my dual control feed there, I have to release it. I'm going to take my, what is that? That's the 3070. I'm taking that off and sliding that on there. Now, okay, so when you go to sew, you're going to be looking at the back of the zipper and not the front, but you're going to pin it to secure it. I am sliding. Okay, so what I've done, I have lined the, you can't really see this, but the outer edge of the foot to the outer edge of the zipper. And my machine tells me if I'm going to hit the foot or not, so you have to reposition your foot. So I'm just doing this really slow because I do have my bag pinned all the way down. I don't have to do it too slow because I'm just going to roll that up there. And I'm making sure I'm staying on that edge with my zipper and my foot. Now I am going to do a back stitch on that just to hold it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I have it stitched right here. I'm taking my pins out. So now what I need to do is I'm going to take this zipper, I'm going to fold it up. Now when I fold it up, I'm not folding it up with the seam up here. I'm folding that seam down, and I will press that. So one moment. Now you've got to try to make sure not to press your zipper, which I kind of did. I'm hoping I didn't melt my zipper together. That's okay. So now what I need to do is press 1/8 of an inch, which that I am changing my presser foot. I will be changing my presser foot back and forth if necessary, because I want my bag to be really nice. So what I want to do is sew 1/8 of an inch from that fold. I'm going to do it on the top. So our next step is we're going to sew 1/8 inch from on that fold or from that seam. I'm doing it on the top. You will want to make sure that you do catch the zipper behind this. So what I'm just putting it on here, and I'm starting it off of the quilted piece, and I'm just making sure that I'm on that 1/8 of an inch on my foot here. I did change my foot back out. I will change my feet back and forth while I'm doing the zipper, because to do that 1/8 inch seam is so much easier with this foot on here. And I'm just making sure that I'm catching that zipper tape on the back side, and I know I caught it because I can see it. Okay, so now I have the zipper on the top piece. So let's see, how do we get that zipper on the other piece? Okay, so our next step is we're going to fold the bag lining side out, which is how we have it here. With this up, your zipper is right sides are both facing outward. We're going to line up. I'm lining up my notched out area, and I'm going to pin that, and I'm just making sure my notches on both ends are matching. So I am not pinning on the top part of the zipper though. That's the side that we're going to be sewing on, so we don't want to pin on that side. And y'all probably see I've got a little kitty cat over here wanting attention. So now when you see this, it's just like the other side was. I have it pinned, and I have my little guest here. You gonna say hi, Oscar? You gonna say hi to everybody? Huh? He just wants his petting right now. He's telling me it's bedtime because he's a 9 o'clock cat. He tells me he's ready to go to bed. Isn't that right? Ain't that right? I don't know if y'all can hear him, but he's purring. He doesn't purr very loud. He's just started purring. Okay, so now what we are going to do is change out our foot again. And what I'm doing is I like to line up this side to the edge of the fabric. And I'm making sure I'm off of the fabric. And guys, I'm going to tell you, I watched the Creative Notions, and congratulations to everybody that won. I didn't win, but that's okay. It was still fun to get all of the projects done. And I noticed my Creative Notions box did go out. It did go out, I think, today. I don't even know why I'm back stitching this, because I'm going to stitch over it again. So now that we have that done, I've got to do my top stitch on this 1/8 of an inch from that. So what I have to do, first off, I have to take the pins out, and I have to unzip. It says halfway. I don't know why halfway. It probably needs to be almost all the way, but we're going to press it the same way. So now that we have this pressed, we are going to do the 1/8 inch seam also here to kind of lock that down. So what I've done is I have unzipped my zipper all the way, and I want to make sure to be right on that edge to secure that really well. I forgot to put that dual control foot down. Now we're wanting to make sure we're getting that zipper tape behind it, which I'm pretty certain I am. I'm going to take me a back stitch in there. Now that we've done that, we have got both sides stitched down. It did catch on both sides. I just need a little trimming up to do here, and we have both of these done. Now we need to kind of secure our zipper here. So what I'm doing is I'm folding my bag in right here. I'm lining up where I had the cutout. I'm lining that up, getting this under. Now, so you can get this under your thing and then put it together if you want to. That's what I'm having to do. I'm going to do that 1/8 of an inch. Then I'm going to back stitch it. And we're going to clip that there. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. Okay, so our next step is with our lining side out and our zipper edge up. We are going to cut out 1.25 inches on each corner. So what I'm going to do, I have my marking pen here. I have my 2.5 inch ruler here. I know where 1/4 inch is on this ruler, so I'm going to mark it and trim it. And I'm going to verify my instructions before I go cutting. Oh, it's only 1 inch from the folded edge. Okay, so I did do it's a good thing I double checked. So now I just need to do 1 inch from the folded edge. And it says use scissors carefully to cut away this. So I'm going to lay mine flat. Okay, I got my big scissors out here because you need to be very careful about this. It even stated that in the pattern, be very careful. So I'm being very careful. Okay, now I have these cut. So the next thing we do is we are going to use 1/4 inch seam allowance and stitch from top to bottom on each side here. Now the instructions do say overcast with a zigzag on each of these. I don't believe I did that the last one I made, and it did fine without that, but I'm thinking that would probably just be for extra secureness. So you can do the zigzag if you want to. I'm not doing the zigzag because I feel like that seam will hold it in pretty well. Okay, so the next step that we're going to do, we're going to take these and create a box seam. So I just fold it in half here. I take my seam, match it to the center, and fold it over. It does say to pin, to secure. I do pin anyway, even if it didn't tell me to, because I want that to stay in the center. And what I do is I'm going to cause my bag to flatten out because I want to sew on 1/4 inch here. And I know y'all can't see it, but I am just flattening the bag. And this is a thick, it's going to be thick going over that seam. So I am going to take my time and make sure I am at that 1/4 inch and make sure I don't hit that pin. And so we have that corner done. We need to do the next one. So we will open that. And what I'm doing is I'm just flattening that out. I'm laying that seam down. Because pretty much what you're doing is making sure that seam is centered and you're holding it in place. So I'm getting this on my machine and I'm flattening that out again. I am using that 1/4 inch again. Okay, so now we have our second corner done. It does say overcast with a zigzag stitch. So probably what you're doing is just catching that. That doesn't matter to me. So the next thing we're doing is the top corners, and where the zipper is that is closed, we are going to put a tab in here. Now you can use D-rings and all that. I'm not using D-rings, but I am going to line up that tab in the center, and I am going to pin that in place. Now when you do that, I just bent that pin all up. You're going to make sure down here my seam presses. This way you're going to make sure it presses the same direction on the top. So now what I do is I'm laying this down, flattening it very good, and putting it on that 1/4 inch. And this is going to secure the tab along with the zipper in that top corner. Okay, so let's see how this one looks. I can remember this was probably the hardest part of making it. The zipper was the part of the easy part, actually. But making this was pretty difficult. So we've got our zipper zipped down. I can trim this off right now if I wanted to. Now it tells me to flip the bag over and stitch again in the opposite direction. So that's what we're doing. We're doing it in the opposite direction. This is for the corner of the bag where the zipper is open. So the zipper's open right here. Fold the corner as before. So we are flattening that corner out. And we're making sure that seam is going in the same direction on the top as it is down here. And this is when, if you want a D-ring, this is where you would put that D-ring. I'm not doing a D-ring. I don't need a D-ring. I don't know if y'all heard the whoop whoop sound, but it sounds like somebody's in my driveway. So now we are going to sew the other side. And we will do the same thing. We're just going to secure that tab. And then we're going to flip it and sew it the other direction. Now I am going to trim the zippers here and trim all of the little threads. So now this is where they tell you to leave your bag halfway unzipped. And that's because it's hard to get your hand in there to unzip it. But this is our final product. We have a fun little bag. And now I'm sitting here looking. It looks like it took a total of 2 hours to make this bag from beginning to end. Get my little corners poked out there. And y'all will see my little tabs here on both sides. But here we go. There is a cute little bag. And y'all, I'm going to tell you, I do believe that grid interfacing, that's a game changer on this. Now, I mean, even when I made my other one, my squares come together really well. Because I pin them. I pin my squares to make sure everything is good. But y'all, this is quite exciting that we've got a bag in 2 hours from beginning to end. So I would like to thank each and every one of you for coming and seeing how to finish this bag out. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, about the bag. Leave them in the comments section, or you can email them to me. If you want a particular section of this done close up, I can do a real quick short for you. Just let me know. And I just noticed something, y'all. I tried to be pretty random with my fabrics, but this is a green and white gingham. Green and white gingham. Right there across from each other. I should have put it on the other side, but this is a beautiful bag. I love this. So guys, thank you so much. Give me a thumbs up if you have not yet. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Goodbye.